Have you ever wondered why someone can only speak to anyone with great vibes? Perhaps you're trying to build your own personal brand, socially or professionally, but you are too afraid to put yourself out there. Maybe you're feeling socially disconnected. Could making more friends really bring you happiness? Lately I came across an interesting book called 100 Lunches with Strangers written by Kaley Chu, who had millions of reasons to stay in her comfort zone and do nothing. Instead of responding to life, Kaley decided to create her own. Kaley's creative and unique approach to overcoming her fears has enabled her to build a stronger self-image and media presence. Quickly, we decided to reach out to Kaley to understand her motives and share her stories with us. So without further ado, let's welcome Kaley Chu. Hey Kaley, thank you so much for agreeing to participate and sharing your great insights on how you started the 100 Lunches with Strangers, or 1,000 Lunches, I should say. Um, I mean, it's such an inspirational thing. I mean, a lot of people should probably learn on how and what you did. And what we want to do today is probably uncover how you ventured into this journey and what was the trigger that, enabled you to do so.
I think a lot of people can resonate this, especially all those international students, immigrants, people not born here, English not first language. That's where I was. Still who I am, immigrants. Came from Hong Kong 13 years ago. For the first 12 years of my life, I just couldn't talk to any Australians or anyone that's non-Asian. They just look scary. Like, not that they're not friendly, they are very, very friendly. It's just me that wanted to live in my little bubble to an extent that it was affecting my life, affecting my career, affecting just not good, like not a terrible life, but I knew that life could have been better. And then I reached a breaking point when I couldn't speak a single word to a client in a 2-hour meeting because of my shyness. That's the moment that I thought, I gotta do something. I want to overcome this. So I said, if I could have 100 lunches with strangers, if I could have, 100 conversations with random people, then surely I would be able to talk to people after. And here I am. Can't stop talking now. So sorry, let you talk now.
So what I understand is the journey of you personally developing yourself just so that you can be more confident in speaking to more people. And what did you find that you learned, and how did you think that you've grown just by speaking to more people?
Everything in my life basically changed. Like, my goal when I first started with this journey was just to improve my confidence so that I can talk to people. But also my life in every single aspect changed. Like, for example, one of the obvious one is my network grow exponentially because I still have lunch every single day with different people, up to maybe 250 lunches now, 250 strangers with their network. It's just massive. Whatever I want to do now, when I've got an idea, I want to bounce off ideas with someone, or I need help with something, I can have someone that I can think of that could help massively fast track the progress.
Fantastic.
I don't want to just take, but I give a lot as well, but that's just an example. And also my whole work changed. Like, instead of working in financial planning field, which I love and passionate about, at the same time I'm doing a lot of public speaking and inspiring other people to get out of their comfort zone and get more out of their life. That's one thing that changed. And what else? My social circle changed. You're the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. I don't know if that helps. I know people that I spend time with change. I get to say no to a lot of things. I say no to whatever thing that scares me or just don't want to try new things. I go, why? Why do I need to do this? But now I say, why not? I've done skydiving. I've done stand-up comedy. Just for fun, really. And life becomes more interesting, and you become someone who's got stories to share. So yeah.
That's great.
Long answer for short questions.
No, no, not at all. I mean, it's great that I like to hear that what you share, and because again, remember, it's very inspirational what you're doing. Stepping out of the comfort zone initially and doing things that just questioning your boundaries. It's very exciting to see something like that. I mean, especially what you can share to a greater community. I mean, if you don't mind, can I get you to touch base on how you think this could work for recent graduates or qualified professionals? And, also coming from all sorts of backgrounds from overseas as well, what do you think would be advisable to them?
There are a few things. Number one, as we all know, that most of the jobs, I've read that from one of the statistics online, it says 80% of jobs are not advertised. So if you want to tap into the market, speak to more people, grow a network, go to networking events, have lunch with strangers. That's how you get to the 80% of the job openings that's not out there. The other thing is that I believe at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you want to do, whether it's get a job, make a sale, or even make a friend or anything. People just do things with people that they like. They hire people that they like to work with. They want to make friends with people that they like. So be likable. What I mean by that is that open up yourself. Like I said, be more interesting, have more fun conversation with people, improve your soft skills, because unfortunately nowadays all the hard skills like is granted. Like if you apply for a job, for engineering job or sales job, whatever that is, it's granted that you have the accounting degree. You take it for granted you've got all the qualification that's needed. If not, you won't be applying for the first place. But among so many tens of thousands or candidates, why do we need to choose you? That's because of your soft skill. That's because how you communicate with people. That's because of how you connect with others and how your organization skills, how your network is. Things like that can dramatically improve your chance of being hired.
Well said. So we had a conversation earlier before this call, and we discussed about how the difference between Eastern culture and Western culture, and that goes for most of the Asians, how they're a bit more, how do I say, a bit more reserved, a bit more introverted in terms of engaging through a conversation. And that's because what I found out was that they, didn't want to talk to someone unless they knew the person or they built a trust. I mean, what is your opinion on this?
I did have that experience when I first started to have lunch with strangers, especially English is not my first language, and I'm very self-conscious when I make a mistakes, especially grammatical mistakes. Some silly mistakes that I make, for example, because in Chinese there's no him or her or he or she, we just have that one word, which is that means that even now I keep confusing about he or she, and that makes people confused. I remember there was one lunch that I said, hey, my mum just arrived this morning and he brought me this. And that person looked so confused, and I didn't understand why she's so confused. She's trying to be polite, and I think she's thinking about, oh, is her mom male or female or something. And this time I just picked, and I was so embarrassed that I mixed up him or her, like some simple mistakes. And at the beginning, I took it personally. I thought people would judge me because of my English. People would judge me because I make grammatical mistakes and things like that. But after a while, I realized that no, they're actually pretty nice people. They might look confused, but all they want to do is just want to understand what are you really trying to talk about. Is your mom a man or woman? Like they just want to find out that so that they can understand you more. So I know it's much easier to say than done, but let go of all your self-consciousness. Just think about what you're trying to say and say it out loud, and just connect with from your heart, not from your brain, from your heart. Just talk, and people can feel it.
Right.
Yeah. Too much. We all make mistakes. Even Aussie makes lots of mistakes.
I tell you what. So what's been very helpful, I guess, in a lot of the videos is understanding how we approach our communications a bit differently. And it's not, it goes for, it doesn't matter about what nationality you are, but in terms of effective communication, it's more about using, say, conversational, like, you and I having a chat as if we're best friends, instead of seeing you as the other stranger across the other side and, oh no, you're gonna shoot all these questions to me that I'm not gonna understand. But I guess, for yourself, right? You know how you just threw yourself in a deep end. What kind of steps would you probably suggest someone to start off slowly to implement what you're doing?
To be honest, I think lunch with strangers is a great place to start. If you're too shy, then maybe do a virtual one because like I'm nobody. Like I make plenty of mistakes and my first 10 lunches were terrible. I couldn't speak, I have no stories to share. I was too shy to only give out like 1 or 2 words reply and the conversation really terrible. Be open and yeah.
You mentioned how it was just not just uncovering, getting yourself out of the comfort zone and being able to engage in conversations and talk a bit more about interests and finding, I mean, just even talking to a stranger and just finding something to talk about rather than, oh, it's a meaningless conversation. Um, was English I don't know, like, would you say it was a barrier as well at that kind of stage, or was your English actually pretty good?
English was a problem when I first started, then I realized that it's not. It's just my mindset that was the problem. Of course, my English improved a lot in the last two years because people sometimes they would tell me and they correct me and I appreciate the correction. Um, it's about what you say. It's not about how you say. I mean, it's important how you say, but it's not about the grammar or it's not about the accent. It's about what your message is that's important.
Very good point. Maybe we can discuss a bit more about like if you're willing to share. I mean, so how long have you been in Australia? Like, which part of China did you come from?
I was born in Hong Kong and then I was 17 years old when I came here. So I finished high school in Hong Kong, came here for uni. Uh, uni and then finished also 13 years that I've been here.
What's your goal for what you're doing now, like with lunch with strangers?
Oh, so many. Where do I start? I've got a fishing board here. I've got my whiteboard here with all my big goals. One thing I really want to do is inspiring others to do more and achieve more in their life because I believe you only change for 2 reasons. Most people don't do anything different because then either they're not unhappy but they're not happy and they have no motivation. So you either change through desperation or inspiration. I changed because of desperation. I was really, really not happy what happened at that time, that I was embarrassed and humiliated, and that's why I changed. But what I want to do is inspire other people so that you don't need to go through the desperation to do better. And a lot of people think that you might, get here, but you know what? You might be able to get there if you try. Don't underestimate your potential. I way underestimated my potential for my entire life. Now I realize I can achieve more. I'm doing so many things at the same time. I am, I wrote a book, I published a book, and since then I started to become a public speaker. I did a TED talk, I did a lot of speeches, and now I do lunches with people. I mean, I've done a virtual lunch show every Wednesday just to invite everybody to come and join and have lunch with me and invite some inspiring or really, really cool people to join us. That's something I'm doing at the moment. At the same time, I'm developing a program, I'm doing an app. I don't know, I'm just doing so many things. Yeah.
How do you manage so many things? Because you're obviously very busy.
I promise I haven't bet. There's no commission here. 4-hour work week.
Yeah.
A lot of people recommend this book, and this helps if you talk about efficiency or how can you get more done in time. Yeah.
Now you're obviously a big advocate of going online on video, which I do see that's becoming future of how you would pretty much present yourself on you know how you got a paper resume nowadays. I believe what's going to happen is you're going to have a digital form of a resume and a cover letter. So what would you be your biggest take on how they would prepare themselves?
Be careful what you say online. Go with your open mind and try to listen because when you listen, you're learning. When you're speaking, you're not learning. Listen to what other people's got to say, listen to their story, and believe it or not, that's the number one tip given by a lot of successful people is listening skills. Active listening and listen to understand instead of listen to reply. So that when people feel like they're respected, they're being heard, they like you a lot more. That's my number one tip. Listen. It's important.
Kayla, look, it's really been a pleasure to have you on here. They can definitely learn a lot from you in terms of how you stepped out of your comfort zone and done something completely different to what the majority of people do. You know, they talk about there's a saying, don't quote me, I don't know how to exactly say the quote, but you know, I took the road less traveled and I feel more happier and see my life more, you know, more colorful. Would you say that you found your core purpose of being in life?
Of course, yeah. I think through all the lunches and through all the questions from strangers, I found the purpose of my life, which is amazing because that makes me feel like I'm more fulfilled in doing what I want to do. Oh, just one last thing. Because I love you too much. Anyone watching this, I'm more than happy to give you a free copy of my ebook. I've just got 15 lessons that I've learned from having lunches with strangers with lots of questions to help you think, not just read my story, but also reflecting about your life, and hopefully that can help you to find out about who you are and what you want to achieve, things like that. And at the end, there's FAQ, feature stories, and a template of message that I use when I send and invite strangers out for lunch that hopefully can help you as well.
Hey guys, do you find Kaley's Chu story inspiring? What have you taken away from her journey? Please let us know in the comments below. And also, please don't forget to like and subscribe so we can create more contents like this. Thank you.